Hello, everybody. We'll get started here in about 3 more minutes. We're going to have, we're going to be making that chicken pincushion tonight, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Oh my goodness. Yes, this is what I'm talking about, a chicken pincushion. Here's one completely done that has pins in it. But this is what we're going to be doing tonight. Woohoo! These are so fun to make. Hi, Vanessa. Happy Friday, TGIF. Excuse me. I literally just got up from a nap about 15 minutes ago, and I was rushing around here like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to get everything set up at the last minute. Oh my gosh. Hoo-hoo. It was a breezy but slightly warmer day today. I think this is our last warm day, if you want to call it warm, for about 10 days. It's going to just not even get out of the 30s up here for the next 10 days, supposedly. Good evening, Terry. How are you this evening? Welcome. Okay. Woo-hoo. So what I'm going to be doing tonight, everybody, I'm going to give you for my basic chicken, and then either tomorrow or Sunday, I haven't decided which yet, I'll post tonight, but I'm going to do a more in-depth chicken pincushion where we'll make several different types and several different sizes. I'm giving you the easy peasy method tonight that requires the least amount of fabric choices and cutting and all that kind of good stuff. Hi, Tresha. Oh, wonderful, Tresha. Welcome. From Texas. Yeehaw, I love Texas. I used to live in Galveston, so yeah, sometimes I get homesick for Texas. And when I do, I try to find me a saltgrass restaurant somewhere to go have a good Texas steak. Hi, SP. Happy Friday. Okay. So we're going to get started, everybody. Welcome to Feature Friday. And I've been having some technical issues with my computer, so I'm only going to be streaming on YouTube live from now on. However, there will still be links in our Altair Angels group on Facebook so that everybody can join in and have fun if they want to. Okay. And as always, my live tutorials like this are 100% free to watch for anybody who wants to watch and follow along. Okay. Hi, Belinda. Hi, Mia. Oh, I hear you, Vanessa. I have a few of those myself. Okay. So to make this as easy as possible, this is what the size we're going to be making, the smaller chicken tonight. Hi, Mark. And what it is, if you see this right here, let me put my hand right behind his little beak. There are the beaks right there on those two chickies. And as you can see, if I rotate it, I actually have pins in this one. Now, most people use ground walnut shells to stuff these with. I have some ordered, and it hasn't come in yet, so I'm going to improvise tomorrow with a product called, I already had this, so this is what I'm going to do my current chickens with until my ground walnut shells come in. This is called poly pellets, right here, and they're little fine beads. Let me swap my camera over, everybody. You get a better look this way. There we go. So, poly pellets, and there's 6 pounds in this bag, but they're little plastic pellets. I don't know if you can see that or not, but they're used, says right on the bag, perfect for bean bags, dolls, crafts, weighted blankets, lap pads, or you can use it along with polyfill. So this is what I've got right now to fill my chickens with, and this is what I'm going to be using. But you could also use rice or dried beans or all that kind of fun stuff. And I'm not going to stay on this camera long because its connecting card, as you can see, is having some issues. So let me go back over here to this camera. And I have a backup camera. I've got that part ordered also, and it just has not come in yet. Should be here at the first of the week. But I'll be using my other little camera in place of the one that I was just on, so we won't have that glitching going on that it's currently doing. Okay, so first things first, we're going to be using, I had a pack of charm squares, and those are 5-inch squares of fabric in varying colors, and this is what I'm going to be using to make my chicken body with, the body of the chicken. So let me swap over, and I'm going to cut these up, and we're going to make some fun little quilt blocks. So what you need are 2 squares of the same size. These are 5 inches, 5-inch squares, but it'll be a little bit smaller once I cut this up because we're going to make 4 patches out of this. And I'll show you what I mean by that in just a minute. Then you will need 2. For this one, you will need 2 2-inch by 2-inch squares. And we're going to make prairie points out of these to make the beaks with. And then I have 1 more square of fabric, 5-inch square out of that charm pack, that I will cut up to make the comb of the chicken with. Okay? So first things first, I'm going to make, and this is actually what it will kind of look, this is what it will look like. This is the size of it right here. It makes a very nice size. Okay. Hi Elsie, hi Linda, hi Margaret, hi Ernestine, hi Gia. Okay, so we're going to get started. I'm going to set my chicken with the one I have finished that I'm actually using with pins. I'm going to set it right down here. I'm going to swap out my camera so that we can all get a good close look at this. There we go. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to layer my 2 5-inch squares right on top of each other, like so. And I'm going to cut them this way and this way. So I'm going to cut it up equally so they're cut up into 2.5-inch squares. Okay. And all I'm going to do, because I don't have a rotary cutter in here, so what I did, I layered both of the 5-inch squares on top of each other. Okay, they're both right there. Okay, 2 5-inch squares. I'll fold it over, finger press it, and then I'm going to cut it with my scissors right on the fold line. Okay, then I'll fold it over again and do the same thing. Okay, now we're going to make two blocks out of this, what I just cut right here. And I'm just going to lay it out here on the bed of my machine. I'm just going to create 2 patchwork blocks that are exactly alike. If you have a leftover quilt block, this is a great use for that. I'm going to make 2 of them, 2 just like this. Have enough to make 2 of these. We finish laying it out here. I do have my machine set up for a 1/4 inch seam. Have a 1/4 inch piecing foot on. And I'm going to sew together the 2 blocks. Okay. And we're just going to piece them together. So I'm going to sew these together 2 at a time, every bit of it. 2 different colors together. Easy peasy. Okay. And as you can see, now I would be way more precise if I was actually making quilt blocks for a quilt. The joyous thing about this pattern is very forgiving, so it's all good. Okay. Here we go. Now we just turned our 8, and these are basically 2.5 inch squares, and you need 8 of, for this one you need 8. Okay. And we're going to back it up, bring it over here, and I'm going to cut them apart. Excuse me. And if you wanted to, you could go press the seams open, but you know what? I don't feel it's really necessary for this. So now we're going to sew 2 of these units. We've got 4 of these right here, what I have in my hand. We're going to sew these together again. So I'll have 2 quilt blocks with 4 squares in each one. Sew it together right there. The only thing I'm going to be careful with here, I want to match the center seam. Easy peasy. I just, if you saw what I did there, I nested the seams together. One will go that way, one will go that way, and that way that locks that seam in, and I'm going to put 1 pin in right there. There we go. Now that is all nested together. We're going to sew that in. We'll have a look at that one. We have 1 more to do. There we go. Check it out. Nice, easy meat. And as you can see, that just really nesting those seams together, regardless of what you're making, that makes a perfectly matched seam line where all those 4 pieces come together in the corner. Okay, we're going to make 1 more. Do just what we just did. Here we go. That time I did not pin it, but I did nest those seams together, and let's see how this one came out. Still came out perfect. Check it out. Woohoo. Okay, so there, those are made, and our 2 blocks are made. Okay, so when we sew these together, we'll make sure that they alternate right there in the middle, and then flip them over, but we're not ready for that step yet. So there's step 1. complete. Now we have to make our little chicken beaks. Those are 2 prairie points. And what a prairie point is, I'll demo with this big piece of fabric so you can see that process. 1 prairie point to make 1 beak, but it's not a 5-inch square. This is made cutting a 2-inch square of fabric for that little chicken beak. Okay, so you'd fold it over in half, press it, and then you're going from the folded edge right here, you're going to fold it over in half and press. I'm going to do this a couple of times. Fold it over again in half. And in the real world, I do this with an iron so it really holds down really well. So right there, you can see how that fold goes. Check it out. Right there. Right there. Okay. Give it a good press, then fold it over one more time and press it, and that's half of your chicken beak. Okay. The only difference from what we're going to actually use, though, is this. So here's my 2-inch square. You unfold it. 2-inch square. So I folded it in half, like so. And then from the fold line, fold it in half again and again at an angle. I get a triangle. That's a prairie point right there, everybody. If you're not familiar with what a prairie point is, this is a way that you can embellish a seam line or the edge of a quilt. But for our purposes, we're going to fold that prairie point in half one more time. And all of this lines here, these are all fold lines, so there's no raw edges showing. That's the important part, no raw edges. And check it out. We pull Mr. Chicken down. Here's this one that's done. Right there is his beak. Check it out. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to base these in where I want them. So you decide which, if it's not a square, this could just be a solid piece of fabric also. Check it out. That was just made from 2 squares of fabric. And I only used a top beak on that one. You don't have to put two beaks down if you don't want to. Total personal choice. But I'm going to say this corner right here, this is going to be the corner where the beak is, and then the comb, the top knot, this part right here. This is what the comb is on chicken, right here. So I'm going to put the beak right here like so. And I like having both a top and bottom beak, but you don't have to do that. But we're going, on this example, we are going to do both. And I'm going to not baste it in place yet because I'm going to take a second one. Okay. And what I'm going to do, check it out. I'm going to put, here they are, side by side. Oops, come here, you. There we go. Let's see what I'm doing here. Okay, there's my 2 beaks. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to layer them one inside of each other. So I'm going to open one up. Make sure I do this right. I'm going to open one up. Okay, there we go. Right? That's right. And notice with this one opened up, I'm going to put those points right up to the fold line on the other beak and then fold that over them. Now that's 8 layers of fabric there, everybody. But then there's my beak, and I'm going to base that about, 1/2 to 3/4 or 1/4 of an inch down from the top of the corner right there. Hold that up. Basically like that. A little better than 1/2 inch. There'll be a 1/4 inch seam. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to baste it in at about 1/8 of an inch. So my basting line will disappear in my chicken line, in my seam line. Okay. Here we go. Right there like that. You can see right there how I'm going to baste it in. Let me sew it down, then I'll hold it back up and you can get another look at it. Come here, chicken wicken. Get in there. Everybody, this looks complicated, kind of, but it really isn't. And they were so fun to make. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I'm doing just a little bit less than 1/4 inch. I just want to hold it in place because it's going to get stitched over again. Okay, there it is. Now you can see what I just did there. See how that looks? When it's folded over, there will be your chicken beak. Okay? So that step's done. Now we're going to baste in the comb of the chicken. I've been using fabric, and I'll show you how to make the fabric one. Tomorrow I will show you how to do one like this made with yarn. This is eyelash yarn. But for tonight, I'm going to make it out of fabric. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take one 5-inch square. Will make 2 chicken combs. So I'm going to fold it in half and cut it. And this does not have to be exact on the fold lines. So that's enough for two pin cushions right there. Okay. I'm going to set one to the side. Then I'm going to fold it in half again. Okay. Fold it in half again. And then I'm going to fold it in half again one more time. Okay. I'm going to finger press it really well. And then where I have this long fold line, I'm going to baste it right along the top. It's going to go over the beak, about the same distance from the corner as the beak is. So this little pink part sticking through kind of makes a square. And we're going to baste that in place. We're not going to worry about the raw edges or anything just yet. We're just going to baste that in place. There we go. Okay. Now it's all basted in. Everybody, that was the hardest part of making the chicken pincushion right there. That was the hardest part. So, and I'll show you how to cut this after it's all sewn together. Now we're going to layer our two blocks together, right here like so. And we're going to sew, excuse me. So here is the top of the chicken where the comb is. Here is the beak. We're going to start over here where the comb is. We're going to stitch it to here, and to here. Let me think now. Is that right? No. We're going to stitch it across the top to the comb, down the side with the beak, and then we're going to come here about an inch and stop, and cut our thread. Then we're going to come down to this end right here and sew in an inch. We're going to leave an opening here so that we can turn it, everybody, and so that we can fill it with either our walnut shells or our poly beads. And then I'm going to show you the next step after that. So here's the next step. We're going to sew first along the part with the comb, then the part with the beak, and then just follow along. Okay, I'm going to match those center seams as best I can. This part does not have to be exact, but you can get it extremely close, and that's just like in horseshoes, that's all that counts. So here we're going to do a full 1/4 inch seam. I do have on my 1/4 inch piecing foot. I'm going to break my thread at each corner. It'll just get a much nice squarer, a squarer corner that way. See there though, you can see there's my 1/4 inch seam. Right here is the comb of the chicken. Here is the beak. Now we're going to sew down this edge. I'm just going to match up that seam line. It's matching up really well. Okay, now we're going to, on this next side, we're going to leave the opening. There was the comb of the chicken is right here. Here's the beak. We've sewn here and here. Now here, we're going to leave about a 2 inch opening, 2.5 inch opening, so we can turn it and then fill it with polyfill. So what we're going to do, here's where we stop stitching just now. We're going to come down here and stitch about 1 inch or 1.5 inches, whatever. And just eyeball it. Okay. Then we're going to come down here to the other end, right here, and stitch about 1 inch. Okay, so now we've sewn comb, beak. Here's our opening. See, we stitched here and here. So if you open that up, you'll be able to see we've left an opening for turning and filling. And now here's the only side that we have not stitched yet. And what we're going to do is we're going to match this seam to this seam. So check it out. And open it up like so. We're going to match those two seams. If it was just a solid square, you're still going to take, here's the two seams that we've sewn. We're just going to match those up. Some quilt block, if you make them out of little quilt blocks, they're not going to have a center seam in them every time. As you can see, I'm just going to, and I'll pin this one. So there's my center seam and it's pinned. Okay, and then I'll have there and there. So now we're just going to stitch that seam right there. And our little chicken will be all sewn together. Here we go. Get that pin out of my way. Okay, everybody, now there's what it looks like before we turn it. Okay? So here comes the magic. Here's the magic, everyone. Are you ready? Here we go. We're going to turn it right side out. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this corner that has the beak and the comb up there first. Where'd that go? Where did that go? Hold on. There we go. There it went. I'm just going to stick my thumb in there, into the opening. There's the opening. Stick my thumb up in there and turn it inside out. I'm just going to continue turning the entire thing. There we go. I'm just going to stick my finger in there and push out the corners. There's one. Two. Here's where the head and the comb is. We're going to push that corner out good. Here you. And then, is that it? One. We still have this one right here. I knew there was one more I hadn't done. So here's our two corners for our opening. Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go. There's our 4 corners. Now, if I just stand him up right now, check him out. There's our chicken. Now we're going to fix this comb so it looks nice. So here's our comb, and I'm going to take my handy dandy Kai scissors. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold it so I don't want to cut all the way up. I'm going to cut this, but not all the way. I don't want to cut into my seam line, but I'm going to curve the front of it. I'm just going to cut off a little bit of a curve right here. There we go. So there's this front. Then I'm going to come up and make this a more elongated, more gentle of a slope. Total personal preference. And now I'm going to snip it into fringe. And I'm getting like about 1/8 of an inch from each one. Other possible materials for the comb is yarn, felt. Use your imagination. You could do ribbons, you could do anything you wanted to for this part right here. There we go. Now check it out. Notice, if I do it like this, you can see how I've cut that. I'm just going to rub my finger up there and scruff it up a little bit. Do a little scruffy. There we go. So there's our chicken. All we have left to do now is to fill in with our filling material, whether it be rice or beans or poly beads, poly pellets, or what everybody actually really likes to use, what's recommended to use is ground walnut shells, which will help keep your pins nice and sharp. But these will also make great little pattern weights. What this stuff here is, this is the polyfill pellets. So it's poly pellets. Oh, poo. There it is. Come back here, you. There you go. Okay. So these are poly pellets. This is a 6-pound bag. I got this at a big box store. I had a really good coupon for it. But what you would then do, and I don't have everything together right here, and I'll actually fill some tomorrow on my next episode. I'm doing another episode on this. But a little funnel really helps make this easy to fill everyone. And then I'm going to hand stitch it down. I will do that on tomorrow's episode for this show. But some other choices, other possibilities on what these could look like. Here's the other one I did right here. Now notice this one, I put a tail on the back of it. So the chicken tail, that's just a prairie point, okay? So what this is, you take a rectangle, let me think here. You take a square of fabric, not a rectangle. I'm going to get a piece of this. This right here. This, I like using this for the combs. But take a square of fabric, fold it in half, fold it over, just like we made the beak, and fold it over again. Then there is a prairie point, which is what you can use if you want to put a tail on it. So what you would do on that last seam that we sewn, you would insert this, pin that in, pin that in before you sew that seam in. I'll do one of these tomorrow. I have one here where I put two tails on the back of it. See that? There's two tail feathers on the back of that one. And there's that fabric, this fabric here. There's what it looks like as the comb. It makes a really cool looking comb, I think. Okay. This is what I made, this just like the one we just did. Right there. This one was made using, and I'm going to make this style tomorrow on camera. So what this one is, this has a lot more piecing in it. But I'll show how to do this method tomorrow. This is using a 9-patch block, and I'll show the concept for this one tomorrow. You can make them out of just solid fabrics. You don't have to do any piecing on it. You can also make them any size you want by changing the size of the two squares you start with. This one, it's a big one. That was made with two 10-inch squares. Okay, so that made a really big chicken. Check it out. That made a really big chicken. That's some batik fabric. Then here I made this comb really big and long. Look at that, how it just kind of lays over. Pretty cool. I've been having a lot of fun with my chickens, everybody. Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to come up here and read the... Oh, yes, thank you, Mia. They are cute, aren't they? And I can tell you, everybody, they're really addictive to make. Completely addictive. Once you get started making these, you will just be looking for all your scraps, all your orphan quilt blocks. You could use any type of fabric. My gosh, you could use minky. You could use anything you can think of. You could even make them out of denim. Oh my gosh, think of how wonderful a use that would be for an old pair of blue jeans that you want to cut apart. Especially jeans. Oh my gosh, think of this. You know, some blue jeans have really beautiful embroidered rear pockets. Cut out those pockets into two equal size squares and make a pincushion out of them. That would be totally cute. You can embellish them further. You could do totally embellish these little squares of blocks and fabrics before you ever sew any of it together, and just go wild with it. Oh my goodness. Let me swap my camera over here. There we go. Hello there. So, yes, chickens for days. Check that one out. And you could even make... show this one yet, I don't think. This one's all done with patriotic fabric, so yes, you can make chickens for every season and change them out in your sewing room. They make wonderful gifts. Oh my goodness, I cannot tell you how wonderful the gifts are to make with these chickens here. This one here was done with eyelash yarn as well, again, as you can see right there. So much fun. I love making these things. Hi, Eugenia. Hi, Ernestine. The big one. This one here. Oh, the big one. Foghorn Leghorn, right? Yes. Well, you need one big alpha chicken to protect all the smaller ones, so I had to have one bigger chicken. But yes, and tomorrow I will show you some other little tweaks and things we can do to these to make them unique. We'll put in tail feathers tomorrow. We're going to use some different types of stuff for the combs of the chickens, and I have some felt around here somewhere that I'm going to use. And we'll just get creative with it and just see how fancy we can make those. Oh, hold on, everybody. Trying to get rid of some spammers on the channel. Hold on. Okay. 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 There we go. Woohoo. Okay. So, that threw me off just a little bit there. But anyway, tomorrow, and it'll be tomorrow night at 6, Saturday night, tomorrow night at 6. We'll do another episode on this, and we're actually going to fill the chickens with my little polyfill beads, these pellet things, poly pellets. We'll actually fill these, and I'll show you how I hand sew them together on the bottom. Just right under here on the bottom is where that seam is. It will close up with it. Lots of fun. And some more variations. Absolutely, Tracy, the roosters have to protect the flock. Although I did have chickens on the ranch and on the farm, and I can tell you some of those don't need any protecting whatsoever. You occasionally get one hen who thinks she's a rooster, and she will whoop everybody, including you, if you let her. Okay. Whew. All right, let me give me a sip of my coffee here. So tomorrow we're going to have another chicken day, and Sunday I'll be doing the first episode for the new quilt top on the Quilts in Italy series. That will be on Sunday. I will get all of those things posted and listed, and next week I'm going to be doing some spinning, some live spinning videos. I have a lot of wool I need to spin into yarn, and I am going to start getting caught up on that project that I have had on the back burner for quite some time. But yes, I will keep everything posted so you can find me. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. And I will see you all tomorrow night, 6 p.m., same bat time, same bat channel. We're going to make some more. We're going to have another chicken day. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.